Okay, so sometimes it's pretty hard to decide what to make of old Bobby Rivas, but he really does seem like a great guy, and it's just a shame that he seems intent on losing all his money. Maybe behind the scenes when he's not filming for his vastly or rapidly growing fan base, which I think is now around 350,000. Maybe he goes back to being commonsensical and makes some money that helps pay for these wild and crazy sessions where he just does his thing in a way that almost nobody else doing these gambling channels does. He's certainly a force unto himself. Let's put it that way. But all I can do is just Alexa, stop. Sorry. All I can do is just show you the information, and you can do whatever you want with it. That's what I always say, and it's what I always mean. But I am grateful to Bobby and people like him, because they give me plenty of verifiable material. Anybody can check it over, see that I'm not fiddling or faking or whatever. That's how it goes. So, thank you. Well, I got to say, Bobby Rivas is nothing if not entertaining, unpredictable, very much a sort of a regular guy in the way that he bets, the way that he feels about gambling, his whole attitude, and he's a very personable guy. I mean, he's easy to relate to. He just seems like a real good guy, and he had some terrible luck. Somehow a firework found its way into his eye, I guess July the 4th last year, and I think he's lost the sight of his left eye, and he's dealing with everything extremely well. The thing that bothers me the most, and it's none of my business because it's his money, but the thing that bothers me the most is that at least according to his videos, according to his channel, which becomes more popular by the day, I think he's about 360,000 subscribers right now. He's going to run out of money by the end of this year at the latest. I mean, maybe he's making an absolute shitload of money from Google and from other sources like Vegas Matt and Mr. Handpay and so on. And so maybe he's rolling in dough. But certainly his blackjack play is not a consistent source. I did make a couple of notes, actually, because I've been watching Bobby for quite a while, and he does weird things. He does multi-hands like Mr. Handpay, but not as much. Jason absolutely loves to just fling as much money around as possible, a la Dana White and his grab a bigger spade and dig faster philosophy, which is absolutely ludicrous, but there we go. He's a millionaire, so
play by the book, and you do. If the cards are feeling right, If you sometimes you get a goofy deck, where no matter what you do,
shit shoe, and you
can't fucking you'll get a 20, and they'll pull out some fucking 7-card 21 or push you on a 20 and things like that. When your night is going that way, you got to do all kinds of, you got to throw the fucking kitchen sink at them, whether it's play one hand, two hands, three hands, split shit you're not supposed to split, double on shit you're not,
Take hits you're not supposed to hit.
You try to fuck up the shoe any way you possibly can. The mentality when you come in is, I'm bringing $2,000. This is what I'm willing to lose in Vegas.
Right. Oh, fuck that.
Instead of, I'm going to bring.
He's a millionaire, so what does he care? And I'm sure that he never loses at gambling. Multiple hands, just not a good idea. Letting it ride after a blackjack, I mean, it's just, that's a silly piece of nonsense. It really is. What you have to think of a blackjack as a 3-2 natural is a bonus. Don't throw it away at the earliest opportunity. Just tuck the money to one side. Be glad of the extra little bit, which at so many tables now is 6-5 and not 3-2. What else did I? Oh yeah. This the push is as good as a win thing. He didn't say it, but his buddy Brandon, who also seems like a nice kid, but destined for bankruptcy, said at one point a push is good as a win. And you will hear people saying that people who should know better. And of course, it's a complete nonsense. A push is better than a loss, that's for sure. But a push is not as good as a win. Dropping bets after a shuffle, that's something that he does quite a lot. Most people do that. And I'm sorry to say, it's ridiculous. Nothing changes with the shuffle. The probability of loss is the same whenever. Whatever the deck penetration, whatever the deck value, whatever the burn card, whatever the wind direction, whatever the color of the table, or the color of the dealer, or whatever, makes no difference. If the house edge is 2.6%, then every single bet has what does that come out at? A 48.7% chance of winning, not an even money chance. So nothing changes with the shuffle, and it makes no sense to drop your bets. The other thing that's a bit weird about Bobby is that quite often he'll just not play the basic strategy. He will not hit 16 against a 10. And his money, his choice, I get that. I always get that. But it just, it kind of makes me go, ah! It's not that I'm sort of like biblical about the bet or religious about the basic strategy. It's just that the basic strategy is common sense. That's all it is. It's logic, It just says to you, hey, if you've got a 16 against a 10, your chances of winning are considerably less than even money. I mean, they sort of like never mind the house edge for blackjack of -1% for the player. Never mind any of that shit. You're holding 16 against a 10. You're a cooked goose if you don't hit it. And so there we are. But as for the numbers here, what surprised me was that it didn't surprise me at all that pattern betting had a good win. Pattern betting's bets were much higher than Bobby's, but that's completely to be expected. The whole point of this strategy and my presentation of it, day after day, week after week, blah, 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 whatever. I mean, God knows how many years I've been doing this now. I do sort of stop and count every so often, and then I forget the numbers as quickly as I can because it's kind of terrifying. But certainly as far as the internet is concerned, I've been doing that since 1996. And it's basically the same strategy. It's a much better strategy now. But the principles are basically the same, and that is that progressive betting is the only way that you can beat these games, as long as your progressive betting strategy, whatever it might be, is backed by a lot of money. And if you get into a situation at a given table where you can't make the next required bet because of the table rules, don't sweat it. Don't worry about it. Just don't make the bet. Back away from the table. Go to a table where you can make the necessary next bet according to the procedures, the rules, the parameters of the strategy, and just carry on. I mean, that's the essence of the whole thing. And of course, the other thing is that if you get into a situation where you don't like what's being dealt to you, you don't like the table, you don't like the company, you don't like the dealer, you don't like the draft up your ass or whatever, go somewhere else. I mean, Mr. Handpay, in the last video of his that I looked at, he said, I really should run away from this shoe. Damn right. But he didn't. And it's easy enough for him to do that. I mean, he can just get up and he can move somewhere else. But I suppose that there are sort of like logistical or protocol constraints upon him in that he's been told, okay, you can film in the you can film in the high limit room, but you can't film on the floor or whatever. But just ask for a shuffle or stop play, wait until, and go and have a drink, certainly not an alcoholic drink, but go for a walk, do whatever, then come back and say, okay, let's get going again. He has lots of opportunities and he doesn't take them. and so you'll see Jason getting his ass kicked big time, much bigger bets than Bobby Rivas for sure. But anyway, thank you, Bobby, for the content. I always say that to him and to everybody else. I appreciate it. It makes it a lot easier for me if I can demonstrate pattern betting and its viability, its validity, its relevance against outcomes that anybody can verify by just going to the source and playing through it. So that's basically the genesis of this whole idea of he didn't have to lose. Bobby this time did not lose. This is what's funny. He did not lose. Come on, do your thing. There we go. He made 488, except of course that I only track his first base bets. So his other bets cost him somewhere in the not somewhere in the region of exactly $350. So that would knock his win here down to 100 and whatever, 138. And I guess he gave Brandon some dosh because that would account for the difference. He talked about how he'd lost $600 collectively. So I guess that Brandon was the one who basically took the hits. Well, it was Bobby's bankroll. But there you are. I mean, we're looking at the same old story, the same story as with the other chapters in this little series of mine. Bobby's spread was 1 to 10, which is just not good enough. The algorithm spread was 25 to 3,200, which is 128 to 1, which is high. But every time I hear people saying to me, "Well, nobody can bet like that." No, you can't do it. If you can't do this, don't waste your money, because they will get your money. If you can't come at least some way towards matching the casino's firepower, which is always going to be bigger than and more than yours, but you've got to make an effort to get somewhere towards it. And this is why I get frustrated when I see people like, sort of Dana White with his millions and the other guys on YouTube who throw money around like it's confetti or something. They could, if they wanted to, make a lot of money. They could win, and they could help people by showing them how to win. But they don't do that because they're working for the casinos, essentially. They're getting filming privileges. They're getting all their VIP treatment, the red carpet shit, the sort of the special tables and blah, 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 because they are losing. Number one, they're losing money. Number two, they're bringing people in. They're bringing high roller suckers in. So, that's what that's about. They don't want to win. And maybe when they turn off the cameras and go and play privately at a regular table, they actually bet sensibly and make a bit of dosh, but certainly not as much as Dana White claims. I mean, that bit of nonsense of his about 23 consecutive nights at more than $1 million a night. I mean, bloody hell. What else have we got here? We've got the overall actual value flat betting was actually positive. So Bobby should have won, and he did win, but then he didn't because of his silly multi-bets. He and Mr. Handpay together love to spread out, and it just doesn't make any sense at all. He had 5,275 worth of action. I had 15,000 worth. I made 30% of my action. He made 9% of his. He did well, quite honestly. If he'd had a sensible betting strategy, if he'd stuck with, the rules of the basic strategy and hadn't sort of, because every time you sort of like, I don't know, go off the rails, you're handing something to the casinos. That's what they want. They want people who are inconsistent, emotional, erratic, illogical. Drunk is good. The casinos like drunk because that makes people even more stupid than they were when they first sat down, and so on. Anyway, I rabbit on. I know I do, and that's just how it is. So What else did I have here? 10 to 1, 128 to 1, 142% for Bobby in terms of average win value over average loss value. Good for him. 222% for Algie. I think I'm done. But I do appreciate the fact that these guys are creating content for me. Although, of course, that's not the purpose of their existence. The purpose of their existence is to bang the drum for the casinos and bring in the suckers. And I'm sure they're doing a great job of that. They must be, because the casinos keep on encouraging them. So there we are. I didn't bother to do any turnaround examples here. These are old ones left over because there weren't any serious threats, really. I mean, the last one was a bit nasty. It was -3 at the end. So that there were 3 more losses. This is the number here. 3 more losses in that particular sequence than wins. And of course, the double down, Bobby's double down there, which made him a decent amount of money, but made me a lot more, was critical to the win. But the win up there, even if that had just been a straightforward thing, it would still have been good, because I'd have made, 1,600 right there. And then followed by a natural. So that natural, instead of being a $25 bet, would have been considerably higher. So one way or another, pattern betting scored again. Quick look at the win-loss patterns. As you can see, huge streak here that Bobby just didn't do anything with. I mean, he bet a little bit more. No, he didn't. Let's go down. No, he didn't. He just bet 100, 100, 150, 150, and then 50, 50. One of the most important things that you have to do in these games is when the tide is flowing in, make the most of it. Grab a wave, surf it. But these people don't do that. I mean, Vegas Matt is the worst. He'll sit on just with the same bet out every time. 8 wins in a row. It's astounding. I mean, the way these guys play, I got to tell you, really, really strange.